The morning sun rose over Eden's Rest like it had for the past 12 years since humans first settled on 442b. Lisa stood on her front porch, watching her two children chase each other through the wheat fields that stretched toward the horizon. The golden stalks swayed in the gentle breeze, and she smiled. Life was good here. Simple, peaceful. Captain Jack Monroe sat in the orbital defense station high above the planet, running his usual morning diagnostics. The screens showed nothing unusual. Trade ships came and went. Agricultural transports departed for nearby systems. Everything was normal. He sipped his coffee and thought about his daughter's birthday next week. She would be 7. Greg Palmer walked through the greenhouses, checking the new hybrid crops. Eden's Rest fed not just humans but also provided food aid to 3 nearby alien colonies. The refugees especially depended on their grain shipments. Greg took pride in that. Humans might be newcomers to the galaxy, but they proved themselves good neighbors. In the Colonial Administration building, Lisa reviewed the latest trade agreements. The wanted to establish an embassy. The requested permission to send students to study human farming techniques. She signed the approvals with satisfaction. This was what humanity came to the stars for. Not conquest, not war, just a chance to build something better. Jack's screen blinked. A fleet signature appeared at the edge of the system. He frowned. No scheduled arrivals today. He ran a scan, 23 ships, military configuration, unknown design. He opened a communication channel. Unidentified fleet, this is Eden's Rest Defense Station. Please transmit your identification and purpose. Static. He tried again. Unknown fleet, you are approaching a civilian colony. Please respond. The ships kept coming, fast, too fast for a friendly visit. Jack hit the alert button. Sirens wailed across the colony below. Lisa's communicator buzzed. She answered it while running toward the shelter command center. What is happening? She asked. Unknown military fleet inbound, Jack replied. His voice was steady but tight. They are not responding to hails. I am reading weapons hot. Get everyone to the shelters now. Lisa's heart pounded. She switched to colony-wide broadcast. This is Administrator. All civilians proceed to emergency shelters immediately. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Parents grabbed children. Teachers herded students underground. Greg abandoned his greenhouses and ran toward the nearest shelter, helping an elderly couple move faster. The alien fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly above the planet. Jack stared at his screens in horror. These ships were massive. Battle cruisers, destroyer-class vessels. This was an invasion force. A transmission finally came through. The face on the screen was reptilian, with dark scales and cold yellow eyes. The creature spoke in a hissing voice that the translator rendered as flat and emotionless. Human colony, I am commander of the Empire. You will surrender all technology, resources, and vessels immediately. Resistance will result in total extermination. Jack straightened in his chair. Commander, this is a civilian agricultural colony. We have no military assets. We are willing to negotiate and share our resources peacefully. His eyes narrowed. You misunderstand. This is not negotiation. Surrender now or die. Lisa's voice came through on Jack's comlink. She was in the command shelter now. Jack, what do they want? Everything, he said quietly. Lisa, get ready to evacuate through the tunnel system. I am buying you time. Jack, no. He cut the link and turned back to, we accept your terms. We will transfer control of our systems peacefully. Please allow us time to organize the civilians. Made a sound that might have been laughter. Time, you waste my time with weakness. The first weapons strike hit the orbital station. Jack was thrown from his chair. Alarms screamed. Fire burst from a control panel. He pulled himself up, bleeding from a cut on his forehead. The station was dying around him. He had one chance, one action left. He activated the emergency distress beacon, programmed it to transmit on all human frequencies, and dumped every piece of sensor data into it. Video, audio, ship signatures, everything. The beacon launched into space just as the second strike tore through the station's core. Jack Monroe died without making a sound, his last thought a prayer that his message would reach Earth. Below, Lisa watched through the shelter's external cameras as fire rained from the sky. The ships targeted the greenhouses first, then the school, then the medical center. Greg Palmer tried to reach the children's shelter on the eastern edge of town. A plasma bolt struck the building in front of him. The blast threw him backward. He lay on the ground, ears ringing, watching the shelter burn. 32 children were inside. He could hear them screaming. The forces landed troops. They moved through the streets methodically. Lisa watched in disbelief as they entered every building, every shelter. They were not here to conquer. They were here to erase. She tried to transmit a message to her husband, who served in Earth's diplomatic corps halfway across the galaxy. Her hands shook as she recorded. "They are killing everyone. They are not even taking prisoners. Tell Earth. Tell them we tried to be peaceful. Tell them." An explosion rocked the shelter. Dust fell from the ceiling. Screams echoed down the corridors. The had breached the outer doors. Lisa stood up. Her children were in a deeper section. Maybe they had a chance. Maybe the tunnels would hold. She picked up a metal rod from the floor, not much of a weapon, but she would not die without trying. She thought of her husband, her children, the wheat fields in the morning sun, all of it about to become nothing but ash and memory. The shelter door burst open. Soldiers poured in. Lisa charged forward with a scream that came from somewhere deep and primal. She struck one soldier across the face. It barely noticed. A plasma rifle fired. Lisa fell. The massacre continued for 6 more hours. When it ended, not a single human remained alive on Eden's Rest. They stripped the planet of everything valuable and departed, leaving behind only ruins and bodies. High above, hidden in the debris field of the destroyed defense station, Jack Monroe's distress beacon transmitted its message into the void. It would take 3 days to reach Earth. 3 days for the recordings to arrive. 3 days of security footage showing children cut down in their shelters. 3 days before humanity saw exactly what had been done to their peaceful farming colony. 3 days before everything changed. Commander filed his report with the Emperor. Target eliminated. Total casualties, 3,847 humans. Resistance, minimal. Resources acquired. The humans are weak. They pose no threat. The Emperor was pleased. The Empire added another world to its collection. Another species learned to fear them. Neither of them realized what they had just awakened. Neither understood that some species should not be pushed. Some things, once broken, cannot be taken back. The beacon continued its journey toward Earth. Inside it, Lisa's final message played on loop. Her last words before the explosion. 8 simple words that would echo through human history. "Tell them we tried to be peaceful," sat in the Earth diplomatic office on the neutral station of Praxis 9 when the message arrived. He was reviewing treaty documents, bored with the endless paperwork of interstellar relations. The communication alert made him glance up. Personal message, Priority 1 from Eden's Rest. His heart lifted. Lisa probably sent another update about the kids, maybe new pictures. He opened the file. His wife's face appeared on the screen. Tears streaked her cheeks. Explosions boomed in the background. Her voice shook with terror. "They are killing everyone. They are not even taking prisoners. Tell Earth. Tell them we tried to be peaceful. Tell them." The transmission cut to static. Stared at the blank screen. His hands went numb. He tried to call back, no response. He tried the colony's general line, nothing. He tried Jack Monroe's defense station. Silence. He ran from his office. Other staff members looked up in alarm as he sprinted past them. He burst into the communications center. "Get me Earth Defense Command, now, right now." The technician saw his face and obeyed without question. Admiral Harrison was in a strategy meeting when his aide interrupted. The look on the young officer's face made everyone in the room go quiet. "Sir, we have a distress signal from Eden's Rest. You need to see this immediately." They moved to the command center. Analysts had already started processing the beacon data. Harrison watched the footage in silence. Around him, hardened military officers went pale. The video showed everything: ships bombing shelters, soldiers executing civilians, children running and falling, Lisa's final charge with a metal rod against armed troops. 3,847 people, all dead, not in combat, not in war, in a massacre. Harrison played the footage 3 times. Each viewing made his jaw. Finally, he turned to his staff. "Get me the Galactic Council, now." Ambassador stood before the council chamber 2 days later. Behind her, screens displayed the evidence. Every member of the council watched. Some species looked away. Others showed no reaction at all. High Counselor Aura, a tall being with blue skin and too many fingers, spoke in a careful voice. "This is unfortunate. The Empire has always been aggressive. Perhaps economic sanctions." "Economic sanctions?" His voice was ice. "They murdered children in bomb shelters. They targeted medical facilities. They killed every single person on that planet." A delegate from the Confederacy shifted in its seat. "Ambassador, we understand your anger, but the Empire is powerful. Military action would be costly. Many species would suffer." "Many species," repeated slowly. "How many of you received aid from Eden's Rest? Food shipments, medical supplies, humanitarian assistance?" Silence. 12 species, she continued. 12 of you here today received help from that colony, and now you will do nothing. Aura raised his hands in a calming gesture. "We must be reasonable. The galaxy operates on certain understandings. They are strong. They take what they want. This is the way of things. Earth is new here. You do not yet understand how the galaxy works." Looked at each council member in turn. She saw the truth in their eyes. Fear. They were all afraid. The galaxy was not built on justice or law. It was built on who had the biggest guns and the willingness to use them. "I understand perfectly," she said. "Thank you for clarifying Earth's position." She walked out of the chamber. Behind her, the council members whispered among themselves. They agreed Earth would need time to grieve and accept reality. In a few months, humans would understand. This was just how things were. They were wrong. Arrived on Earth 3 days after the council meeting. He had resigned from the diplomatic corps. When he entered Admiral Harrison's office, he was wearing a Marine uniform. "I want to fight," he said simply. Harrison studied the man. Eyes were hollow. He had lost weight, but his hands were steady and his voice was firm. "Have you ever killed anyone?" Harrison asked. "No, sir." "Are you prepared to?" "Yes, sir." Harrison nodded slowly. "Your wife died trying to protect your children with a metal rod against plasma rifles. That kind of courage should not be wasted on revenge." "This is not revenge, sir. This is justice." Harrison stood and walked to his window. Earth spun below, blue and green and beautiful. Home to 11 billion humans who just learned that the galaxy did not care if they lived or died. "The Council thinks we will accept this," Harrison said. "They think we will be reasonable, diplomatic. They think we will follow the rules." He turned back to, "They are about to learn that humans only follow rules when everyone else does too. And that just proved there are no rules." Across Earth, the mobilization began. Ships that had been mothballed for decades came back online. Weapons factories that made consumer goods retooled for war production. Research facilities abandoned peaceful projects and focused on one thing: how to kill. Vice Admiral coordinated the fleet assembly. Carriers, destroyers, frigates, and dreadnoughts. Earth had built these ships as insurance, hoping never to need them. Now every vessel prepared for deployment. In laboratories, scientists studied the ship designs captured in Jack's final data transmission. They found weaknesses. Every shield has a frequency. Every armor has a breaking point. They designed new weapons specifically for technology. In training facilities, soldiers drilled, not in peacekeeping, not in humanitarian missions, in war, real war. The kind humans had tried to leave behind when they reached for the stars. Broadcast Earth's formal withdrawal from all galactic treaties and councils. Her message was brief and cold. Earth thanks the Galactic Council for its true position. We now understand the galaxy's laws. Might makes right. Violence without consequence. We accept these rules. We will play by them. The galaxy barely noticed. A few species commented that humans seemed upset. They would calm down eventually. Maybe send a few strongly worded messages. Everyone did that after losing people to the Admiral Harrison stood before Earth's assembled fleet commanders. 200 ships, 100,000 personnel, the largest military force humanity had ever created. The Galactic Council believes in peace through cowardice, he said. They think survival requires submission. They are wrong. He pulled up the footage from Eden's Rest. Everyone had seen it before. They watched again in silence. The Empire teaches through terror. They have destroyed 47 colonies in the past century, billions dead. The galaxy accepts this, calls it inevitable, the strong taking from the weak. Harrison's voice dropped to something quiet and terrible. We are going to teach the galaxy a different lesson. We are going to show them what happens when the strong mistake mercy for weakness, when predators confuse patience with fear. He looked at each commander. They think humans are soft because we choose diplomacy first. They think we are weak because we value life. They are about to learn the difference between choosing peace and being capable of only peace. Stood among the Marine contingent. Around him, men and women checked their weapons and equipment. No one spoke of glory or honor. They knew what they were about to do. They were about to become the thing they had tried to leave behind in Earth's bloody history. But some lessons must be taught. Some lines, once crossed, demand response. Harrison gave the final order. All ships prepare for immediate departure. Navigation, set course for space. Communications, broadcast one message to every world. The communications officer waited. Tell them this: we are coming. We are not coming to negotiate. We are not coming to accept surrender. We are coming to show you what happens when you murder our families. Remember Eden's Rest. We will make you remember. The fleet moved out. 200 ships, 100,000 humans, all of them carrying the image of 3,847 dead civilians in their minds. The galaxy watched Earth's fleet depart and shook their heads at human foolishness. They would destroy them. Then Earth would understand. This was just how things worked. High Counselor Aura issued a statement expressing hope that humanity would reconsider before engaging in unwinnable conflict. Admiral Harrison received the message and deleted it without reading. Mercy ends here. Emperor L of the Empire reclined on his throne when the report arrived. His scales gleamed in the red light of his palace. An aide handed him the data pad. Sire, the humans have sent a formal declaration. L read it and made a hissing sound that passed for laughter among his species. No quarter, no mercy, no surrender accepted. He showed it to his advisors. The prey thinks it is a predator. Commander stood at attention. He had just returned from Eden's Rest, proud of his efficient work. My emperor, shall I take a fleet to meet them? Their 200 ships will fall easily. No, L said. Send Admiral with the border fleet. 300 ships should be enough. Let the humans see true power before they die. Perhaps some will survive to carry the message back to Earth. The border fleet moved to intercept Earth's forces at the threshold system. Admiral commanded from his flagship, confident and relaxed. He had fought 40 battles, never lost once. These humans would be no different. "Sir, human fleet detected at the edge of the system," his tactical officer reported. "Standard formation. Prepare to broadcast surrender terms." The human ships came on fast. No slowing, no communication. "Sir, they are not responding to hails." "Of course not," said. "They are scared. We will disable their command ship, take the survivors, and be done." The fleets closed to weapons range. Opened a channel, expecting his image to appear on every human ship. "Human vessels, you are outmatched. Surrender now and your deaths will be quick." No response. Frowned, fire warning shots across their formation. The tactical officer obeyed. Energy beams lanced across space, deliberately missing the human ships. The human fleet did not slow down. They did not scatter. They did not break formation. They opened fire. Captain Amy commanded the EDS Retribution, Earth's dreadnought. She stood on her bridge, hands clasped behind her back, watching her tactical display. Beside her, Lieutenant Park coordinated targeting solutions. Had lived on Eden's Rest until 3 months before the attack. He transferred to Earth for advanced tactical training. It saved his life. Everyone he knew died there. "All batteries ready," said. His voice was flat, empty. "Fire at will," Amy ordered. The Retribution unleashed weapons they had never seen. Humanity spent 3 months studying the data from Jack Monroe's final transmission. They learned everything about shield frequencies, armor composition, and ship design. Then they built weapons to exploit every weakness. The first salvo punched through Admiral's shields like they did not exist. The flagship shuddered. Alarms wailed. Reports demanded. Shield penetration. Unknown weapon type. They knew our exact frequency. Across the battlefield, ships discovered the same thing. Human weapons tore through their defenses. Earth did not fight with honor or tradition. They fought like scientists. Cold, calculated, precise. "Return fire," shouted. "All ships concentrate on their command vessel." Plasma beams struck the Retribution. The shields held, barely, but they held. "Damage report," Amy said calmly. "Forward shields at 60%. No hull breaches." Amy nodded. "Target their power cores. I want them dead, not disabled." His fingers flew across his console. He marked 15 ships. His face showed nothing. Inside, he thought of his friends, his neighbors, children he helped teach at the colony school. All gone. Targets locked. Fire. The human fleet moved with terrible efficiency. They did not try to capture ships. They did not aim to disable. Every shot was meant to kill. When a vessel lost shields, the next volley cracked its hull and detonated its reactor. Admiral watched his fleet die around him. 300 ships, the finest of the border forces. They were being destroyed. "Retreat," he ordered. "All ships fall back." But the humans did not let them run. Earth's faster frigates cut off escape routes. When ships tried to flee, they found human vessels waiting. No mercy, no quarter. A cruiser captain tried to surrender, broadcasting his intention on all channels. "Human ships, we yield, we request." Park locked weapons on the vessel. "Captain, they are attempting surrender." Amy stared at the ship on her screen. She thought about the footage from Eden's Rest. Soldiers shooting children as they ran. "Did they accept surrender at Eden's Rest?" she asked quietly. His hands tightened on his console. "No, Captain, they did not." "Then neither do we. Fire." The cruiser exploded in a ball of fire. All across the battlefield, the same scene played out. Ships tried to flee. They tried to surrender. They tried to negotiate. The human response was always the same. More fire, more death, no words. 4 hours after the battle began, it ended. 300 ships destroyed. 0 survivors. The human fleet had lost 8 vessels and suffered damage to 30 more, but they had won. Admiral Harrison received the battle report on his flagship. He studied the numbers, acceptable losses. The fleet could continue. Broadcast a message on all frequencies, he ordered. The communication went out to every world, every station, every ship. Remember Eden's rest. That was all, 3 words, but every who heard them felt something new, something they usually inflicted on others. Fear. Emperor El summoned his military council. The throne room was silent except for the emperor's angry breathing. How, he demanded, how did they destroy this entire fleet? They knew our technology, an advisor said. They studied it, built weapons specifically for us. Then change our frequencies, upgrade our shields. It will take months, my emperor. El slammed his fist on the throne. We do not have months. Their fleet is still advancing. Commander stepped forward. Sire, let me take the primary assault fleet. 500 ships, I will crush them. El studied the commander who had massacred Eden's rest. Do not underestimate them again. They are not prey. They are wounded predators, more dangerous. I will not fail, my emperor. The primary fleet deployed. 500 of their best ships, elite crews, combat veterans. They met the human fleet at the colony world of Threshold 7. This time the battle lasted 6 hours. They fought with everything they had. They changed tactics. They adapted. It did not matter. The humans fought like machines. No hesitation. No mercy. When ships damaged a human vessel, the wounded ship would ram straight into formations, taking several enemy vessels with it when it exploded. Fought in the Marine contingent that boarded a damaged carrier. The crew tried to fight back. They were good soldiers, trained, experienced. But his fellow Marines fought with something they did not have. They fought with the memory of their dead. Every Marine had lost someone, family, friends, people they loved. They fought to win. The humans fought because they had nothing left to lose. Shot a soldier, then another. His training took over. Move, shoot, advance. He did not think. Thinking meant remembering Lisa's face, his children's laughter, the wheat fields in the morning sun. So he did not think, he just fought. The battle ended with another defeat. 500 ships destroyed. The human fleet lost 22 vessels. Admiral Harrison ordered his damaged ships to fall back for repairs. The rest continued forward. No pause, no rest. They began to panic. 800 ships lost in 2 battles. The humans kept coming. Survived by abandoning his flagship in an escape pod. He was picked up by a patrol. When he reported to Emperor El, he dropped to his knees. My emperor, forgive me, they are like nothing we have faced. They do not stop, they accept no surrender, they show no fear. El's yellow eyes narrowed. You taught them this. You showed them what we do to the weak. Now they show us what they do to murderers. What are your orders, my emperor? El looked at the star map. The human fleet was 3 days from the next major colony, 7 days from Prime itself. Bring every ship, every soldier. We end this at Prime. We show them that terror has a cost. But El made a mistake. He thought humans would be terrified of a final battle against overwhelming odds. He thought they would hesitate, negotiate, surrender. He did not understand. The humans were already terrified. They were terrified the day Eden's rest fell. They were terrified when they watched the footage of their families dying. But they learned something that day. Fear can be a weapon. And right now, they were the ones who were afraid. The human fleet reached the colony world of 3 on the 16th day of the campaign. Captain Danny Foster led the ground assault teams. His descended through smoke and fire, carrying 2,000 Marines ready for battle. But when they landed, they found something unexpected. The military had already evacuated. They left behind only civilians, millions of them, families, children, the old and weak. Danny stood in the central square of the capital city. Civilians watched from windows and doorways, terrified. A young child peeked around a corner, its yellow eyes wide with fear. "What are your orders, sir?" his second-in-command asked. Danny thought of Eden's Rest, the children's shelter, the medical center, the systematic slaughter. "Secure the military installations," he said. "Leave the civilians alone." "Sir, you heard me. We are not here to kill families. We are here to destroy their military." The Marines swept through the planet. They found weapons caches, military bases, command centers. They destroyed them all. But when they encountered civilians, they did nothing. Some Marines wanted revenge. Danny understood. But he also understood that becoming like the Mentha had won in a different way. Lieutenant Price worked in intelligence. Her job was to go through captured databanks and find useful information. What she found instead made her stop breathing. "Sir, you need to see this," she told Danny. He entered her temporary command post, had files displayed across multiple screens. Reports, images, video footage. "What am I looking at?" "Military records for the past 70 years, said. Her voice shook slightly. Eden's Rest was not unique. They have done this 47 times, 47 colonies, 17 different species, billions dead. Danny read the reports in silence. They had a system. They identified wealthy colonies or those with strategic resources. They demanded surrender. When the colonies, they killed everyone anyway. It was how they built their empire, through terror and genocide. "Why did no one stop them?" Danny asked. The Galactic Council knew, said. "Look at this file, 12 formal complaints filed over the decades. The Council's response was always the same. They suggested negotiations, economic pressure, diplomatic solutions. Doing nothing." "Yes, sir, doing nothing." Danny looked at the files, species he had never heard of. People who tried to be peaceful, who followed the rules, all dead now. "Compile everything," he ordered. "Every file, every report. We are sending this to Earth. The galaxy needs to see what they have been protecting." Emperor L stood in his war room on Prime. Every military asset in the Empire was being pulled back to defend the 1,800 ships, the largest fleet that had ever assembled. "Surely this will be enough," an advisor said. L was not sure anymore. The humans destroyed 800 ships without slowing down. They fought with cold determination. No hesitation, no mercy. "Where is their fleet now?" he asked. 3 systems away, my emperor. They are moving steadily. They do not pause to hold territory. They destroy our military and move on." L understood. The humans did not want conquest. They wanted something more final. "Open a channel to the Galactic Council," he said. "It is time to accept help." High Counselor Aura received the communication with surprise. They never asked for help. They were predators, conquerors. They gave orders to the Council, not requests. "Emperor L, what can the Council do for you?" Aura asked carefully. "Stop the humans," L said. "They are coming to Prime. They will not negotiate, will not listen to reason. You must intervene." Aura felt something close to satisfaction. They finally understood what it felt like to be helpless, to need protection the galaxy would not provide. "The Council cannot interfere in disputes between member species and non-members," Aura said. "Earth from all treaties. They are not bound by our laws." "You let them do this," L's voice was sharp. The Council suggested restraint. Earth chose not to listen. We have no authority over them now. "Then what good are you?" Aura wanted to say many things. He wanted to mention the 47 colonies they destroyed, the billions they murdered, the decades of terror. But that would not help the situation. "I can try to negotiate with Earth's Admiral Harrison," Aura offered. "Perhaps he will accept your surrender." "We offer surrender and reparations," El said quickly. "Full admission of war crimes. We will submit to trials, whatever they want." "I will convey your offer." Aura contacted Admiral Harrison on a secure channel. The human appeared on the screen, looking older than his file images. His eyes were hard. Admiral Harrison, I bring an offer from Emperor L. The Empire offers complete and unconditional surrender. They will submit to war crimes trials, pay reparations to Eden's Rest survivors, accept any punishment you deem appropriate. Harrison was quiet for a long moment. Tell me, counselor, what punishment did you give them for the previous 47 massacres? Aura felt something like shame. We did not act. No, you did not. You let them murder billions while you held meetings and passed resolutions. You taught them that violence has no consequences. Admiral, I understand your anger. Do you? Harrison's voice was ice. Tell me, counselor, where was the Galactic Council when my people died? Where were you when children were shot in their shelters? We cannot undo the past. No, but we can teach the future. The surrender is rejected. We are coming to Prime. Tell the Emperor he has 48 hours to evacuate all civilians from military installations. After that, anyone in a military facility will be considered a combatant. You would destroy I would destroy their ability to hurt anyone else ever again. There is a difference. The channel closed. Aura sat in silence. He realized something terrible. The galaxy had operated on the principle that might makes right. The strong took from the weak. It had always been this way. Now the humans were teaching a new lesson. They showed what happened when the strong attacked the wrong weak species, when predators chose the wrong prey. On Prime, the evacuation began. Civilian transports launched by the hundreds. Families fled to outlying colonies. Parents carried children through spaceports, terrified of the approaching human fleet. Watched the refugee ships from the Retribution's observation deck, civilians fleeing their homes, just like Eden's Rest tried to evacuate, but they had not given them 48 hours. They gave them no time at all. Amy found him there. She stood beside him in silence, watching the ships depart. Having doubts, she asked. No, said, just remembering they could have shown mercy. They chose not to. Now they learn what it feels like. We are not like them, Amy said. We give them a choice. We warn them. We let civilians leave. Is that enough? Amy did not answer immediately. She thought about Lisa, about Jack Monroe, about 3,847 people who died begging for mercy that never came. It has to be enough, she finally said, because if we become exactly like them, then they win. We can be ruthless without being cruel. We can be deadly without being murderers. The 48 hours passed. Military installations remained occupied. L refused to fully evacuate, believing the humans would not really fire on his. He was wrong. Admiral Harrison stood on his bridge. Around him, his officers waited. Everyone knew what came next. All ships, Harrison said calmly. Begin orbital bombardment, precision strikes only, military targets. Confirm civilian areas are clear before firing. The human fleet opened fire on Prime, not in anger, not in hate, in cold, calculated justice. Military bases exploded, weapons factories burned, shipyards broke apart and fell from orbit. The fleet tried to stop them, 1,800 ships against 200. The battle lasted 12 hours. When it ended, they had 300 ships left. The humans had lost 47 vessels. Prime still stood. The cities were intact. Civilian casualties were minimal, but the military was broken. Their weapons were gone. Their ability to wage war was destroyed. Emperor L watched from his throne room as his empire burned. He had built his power on fear. Now he was the one who was afraid. A transmission came from the human fleet. Emperor L, this is Admiral Harrison. Your military is defeated. Your fleet is scattered. You have one chance, one choice. Surrender yourself for trial. Face justice for Eden's Rest and the 47 colonies before it. or we continue this until nothing remains." El looked at his empty throne room. His advisors had fled. His guards had deserted. He was alone with the consequences of his empire's crimes. He opened a return channel. "I surrender." Admiral Harrison stood in the transport shuttle that carried him to the surface of Prime. Through the window, he saw a world that looked almost normal. Buildings stood intact. Parks and gardens remained green. The civilians had been spared. But the military infrastructure was gone. Orbital platforms drifted as debris. Weapons factories were melted slag. The Empire's ability to wage war had been erased in 12 hours of precise destruction. Captain Amy sat across from him. She looked tired. They all did. 2 months of constant fighting took its toll, even when winning. "Are you sure about this?" she asked quietly. Harrison knew what she meant, the decision he made, the line he chose not to cross. "Yes," he said. "We came here to stop them, not to become them." The shuttle landed in the palace courtyard. Guards stood at attention, disarmed. They watched the humans with fear and hatred, led the Marine security detail. His weapon was ready but not pointed at anyone. Emperor El waited in his throne room. The ruler looked smaller somehow, diminished. He stood when Harrison entered, not sitting in his throne. "I am here to surrender," El said. His translator made his voice sound flat. Harrison walked closer. He had imagined this moment many times during the campaign. He thought he would feel satisfaction, triumph. Instead, he felt only weariness. "Why did you do it?" Harrison asked. "Why Eden's Rest?" They offered to share their resources peacefully. El's yellow eyes met his. "Because we could. Because taking is easier than trading. Because fear keeps an empire together better than respect. And now I understand that fear works both ways. The galaxy feared us. Now they will fear you." Harrison shook his head. "No, the galaxy will fear what happens when they mistake mercy for weakness. We did not come here to conquer. We came here for justice." "Is there a difference?" "Yes, there is." Harrison signaled to take him into custody. He stands trial for war crimes, not just Eden's Rest, all 47 colonies. Guards tensed but did not move. They knew resistance meant death, walked forward and placed restraints on the Emperor. El did not resist. As they led him away, El looked back at Harrison. "What happens to my people now?" "That depends on them," Harrison said. "We are not here to destroy we are here to make sure you never destroy anyone else." Over the following weeks, the occupation began, but it was not like conquests throughout galactic history. The humans did not enslave. They did not loot. They did not terrorize. Lieutenant Price coordinated with civilian leaders to establish an interim government. She worked with them to set up courts, schools, systems to rebuild what war had destroyed. "Why do you help us?" an administrator asked her. "We killed your people." "Your military killed our people," corrected. "You are not your government. You are not your emperor. You are just people trying to survive." The trials began. Emperor El and his military commanders stood before judges from 17 different species. Every species that had massacred sent representatives. The evidence was overwhelming. They had documented their own crimes. Dr. Laura Martinez, a civilian historian, attended the trials. She was writing a book about the war. She watched as survivor after survivor gave testimony. Commanders showed no remorse. They had been following orders, doing their duty. "Do you feel any guilt?" the lead judge asked Commander. "Why would I?" responded. "We were strong, they were weak. This is nature." "And now you are weak," the judge said. "Should we follow nature's law?" Had no answer. The galaxy watched the trials with interest. The Galactic Council debated what it meant. Some species saw humanity as a new threat. Others saw them as a necessary force for justice. High Counselor Aura met with Admiral Harrison in a neutral location. They sat in a garden, surrounded by flowers from 100 worlds. The Council is concerned, Aura said. Your fleet is still in space. Your forces occupy their worlds. When will you leave? Harrison sipped his tea before answering. When we are certain they cannot hurt anyone else, when their government is stable and peaceful, when justice has been served. You cannot occupy them forever. We do not want to occupy them at all. We want them to govern themselves, peacefully. And if they choose war again? Harrison's eyes were hard. Then we come back every time forever until they learn. Aura was quiet for a moment. The galaxy is not used to this. Conquest we understand. Occupation we understand. But occupation that seeks to rebuild rather than exploit, this is new. Perhaps the galaxy needs new ideas, Harrison said. The old ways led to Eden's Rest, to 47 massacres, to billions dead while the Council held meetings. You are not wrong, Aura admitted, but change is difficult, frightening. So is watching your family die. The counselor had no response to that. Months passed, the slowly rebuilt. A new government formed, led by civilians who opposed the Empire's military aggression. They faced challenges. Some wanted the old ways back. Others embraced the change. Captain Danny Foster worked with security forces to maintain order. It was strange, training former enemies. But many soldiers were conscripts, people who followed orders because refusing meant death. "Do you hate us?" a young soldier asked Danny during a training session. Danny thought about it carefully. "I hate what was done. I hate the choices your leaders made. But you were not at Eden's Rest. You did not choose this war." "My brother was," the said quietly. "He died in the first battle. He was just following orders." "So were the people who killed him," Danny replied. "War is easier to start than to end. Remember that." Amy returned to Earth after 6 months. She stood before the memorial built for Eden's Rest. 3,847 names carved in stone. Lisa's name was near the top. Amy placed flowers there like she had done many times. Stood beside her. He wore his Marine uniform. He had not been back to Earth since the war ended. "Do you regret it?" Amy asked. "What we did?" Looked at the names. Every single one, men, women, children, all dead because they chose to be peaceful. "No," he said. "I regret that it was necessary, but not that we did it. We killed thousands of." "Yes, and we spared millions more. We could have burned every world, killed every we found. That would have been revenge. Instead, we stopped when justice was served. That is the difference." Admiral Harrison retired from active service 1 year after the war. His final act was to establish a new military doctrine for Earth Defense Force. It was simple and clear. Any species that targets civilians faces Earth's full military response. No negotiation, no mercy until surrender, but also no genocide, no conquest, justice, not revenge. The galaxy called it the Harrison Doctrine. Some species hated it. They saw it as Earth claiming authority it did not have. Others quietly supported it. They remembered their own dead, their own unanswered cries for help. The Galactic Council reformed. New rules were written. War crimes were defined. Enforcement mechanisms were established. Earth provided the majority of the enforcement fleet. Aura remained as High Counselor. He worked with Earth to build a galaxy where species could resolve disputes without fear of massacre. It was slow work, difficult work, but necessary. "We should have done this after the first massacre," he admitted to Harrison during one meeting. "Yes," Harrison agreed, "but you did not, so we did." 5 years after Eden's Rest, the colony was rebuilt. New settlers arrived. They named it New Hope. The memorial to the dead stood in the center of town. Every morning, the first light of dawn touched Lisa's name. Visited once. He walked through the wheat fields that grew again. He stood at the memorial and read every name, all 3,847 of them. He thought about what humanity had become in those terrible months. The cold efficiency, the ruthless determination, the willingness to wage total war. And then he thought about the choice they made, to stop, to spare, to rebuild. "We showed them mercy," he said to the empty memorial, "not because they deserved it, but because you would have wanted us to remain human." The wheat swayed in the breeze. Somewhere children played and laughed. Life continued. On Prime, Emperor L served his sentence in prison. He would never leave. Every day he read the reports from occupied worlds, industries rebuilding, trade agreements signed, his people learning to prosper without conquest. He hated it, and he was grateful for it. The contradiction haunted him. The humans could have destroyed everything, could have made the extinct. Instead, they did something worse. They showed mercy. They proved that strength did not require cruelty, that victory did not require genocide. They proved the Empire was wrong about everything. In the galaxy at large, things changed. Species still fought. Disputes still arose, but now they knew. There was a line, cross it, and humanity would come, not to conquer, not to enslave, but to stop you, completely, finally. The predators of the galaxy learned a new fear. Not fear of death, fear of facing prey that fought back, fear of species that chose mercy but were capable of total war. Admiral Harrison visited the Eden's Rest Memorial on the 10th anniversary. He was old now. The weight of command had aged him beyond his years. He stood before the wall of names, reading each one. A young girl approached him, maybe 7 years old. She held flowers. "Are you Admiral Harrison?" she asked. "Yes. My teacher said you saved the galaxy." Harrison knelt down to her level. "No, I just made sure what happened here never happens again." "What did happen here?" Harrison looked at the 3,847 names. "Something terrible, something that taught us all a lesson, that mercy is not weakness. It is a gift. And when someone refuses that gift, when they choose cruelty instead, then mercy ends. Justice begins." The girl did not fully understand. She was too young, but someday she would. Someday she would read the history, see the footage, understand the choice humanity made. To be kind when possible, to be ruthless when necessary, and to always, always remember the difference. Harrison placed his flowers at the memorial. Beside him, Amy and did the same. 3 people who had fought and bled and watched friends die. They stood in silence for a long time. Finally, Harrison spoke. "We did what we had to do." "Yes," Amy agreed. "And we stopped when we should have," added. "Yes." The sun set over new hope. In the wheat fields, crops grew. In the town, people lived and loved and built futures. Life continued as it always did. But the galaxy remembered. Eden's Rest became a legend, a warning, a reminder. Some things should not be done. Some lines should not be crossed, because somewhere out there humans wait, patient, peaceful, merciful. Until mercy ends. Then they show you what they really are.